Stu here with Raid, Shadow Legends, and Bionic Gaming Entertainment. Bionic, welcome.
Hey, what's up, Stu? Thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem, not a problem. I'm so happy to have you. Your account is amazing. You've been playing this account for a year. I want you to give us some details about what's going on. But first, so he does free to play. Bionic does free to play completely for this whole total year. It's his anniversary, and he's done amazing things with his account. But first, tell us about your giveaway you're gonna do.
That's right. So, Stu, going forward, I haven't done a giveaway in the last couple of weeks, I guess. I've been saving them all up for one major giveaway, which I'll start to do monthly. As some of the viewers might know, we get perks as content creators. I give it all away to the viewers. So by subbing to my channel, you guys would have access at winning those gems, and it is going to be 4,500 gems for so 900 gems for 5 lucky winners for a total of 4,500 gems, starting basically this week or after this video.
Okay, great. We'll be on the lookout for that video then. It sounds like a lot of gems. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in doing that, and we'll see it. We'll see it for sure.
Awesome.
I'll put a link in there. I'll put a link to your channel below so they can go over there and subscribe and be ready.
Awesome.
Be ready for that giveaway. So what are we going to talk about on your account? Tell us everything. Tell us how you've done so much as free to play.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd get this far. And to be honest, this was just another game on Google Apps, right? And I kind of picked it up because I didn't have anything else to play. I was sort of like in limbo, decided I'll give it a shot. And I've been wanting to do YouTube for a long time. So I went through the first 35 days as entirely free to play and realized that in those 35 days, I managed to get 5 free sacred shards. So that was my first video. It kind of picked up. It put me on the map, and then from there I kind of just built on that. And my first videos are all like these little guides. I eventually did a top 15 champions, which is one that's still my biggest video as of today. Nice. And I felt like I could get this going. I could finally, after all this time, I'm a long time PC gamer, over 20 years of experience, and I felt maybe this is it. Maybe this is the game that's going to put me on the map. So decided to continue playing. Went on to a second month, a third month, fourth month, fifth month, and so on, all while remaining free to play. And I didn't think it was possible, but the game does throw a lot at you, enough for you to be able to complete most of the content. So without going over basically all the steps, I did hit some bumps here and there. Obviously, the arena was hard to kind of progress. Some of the dungeons was probably the hardest, but I made it, man. To about a month ago, I got Arbiter.
Oh, you did the Arbiter challenge. Nice.
I did. So finally, I got the Arbiter. So that was probably the biggest accomplishment. I think if you look at it as to what you can get from this game, what really signifies that you've hit the end is probably getting Arbiter, hitting the Nightmare Clan boss, being in gold tier 4, and I've done that. Now there's probably we could argue the ultra end game, which is the Ultra Nightmare Clan boss, Platinum, the faction wars. So that's in the works, but still being able to have accomplished most of it throughout a year, I think it's a relatively good achievement. It was a lot of fun, but it wasn't always easy.
Right, I'm sure it wasn't easy, but to be able to do that in 11 months to get Arbiter, that's amazing on a free-to-play account.
Yeah, so definitely there were some things that helped me out, and I think if you look at the game of how it is today compared to how it was a year ago, it's probably not the same game. It's probably gotten a lot harder. A lot of people are talking about these phantom teams in the arena, where it's people that stop playing, they have really good teams, but then they kind of go down in tiers, and so even in bronze, you're competing against teams that are way overpowered. So if you try to use a basic sort of free to play or freely accessible team, it's not enough, not anymore. But back then when I started, I got a Crimson Helm very early on, and she helped me tremendously. And then I got 3 Cold Hearts almost back to back. Wow. That was such a game changer. It really helped me end the client boss, Spider Dungeon, obviously, and finally ended up starting getting a couple of more champions. Hit my first legendary, I think after, if I remember correctly, it was almost 7 months. 7 months before I got my first legendary.
7 months in. Okay, and then it took 11 months to get Arbiter, but you didn't get your first legendary until 7 months in.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. But you did fuse Rosin Scarhide, right?
Actually, the funny thing, I got Rosin from a shard. He was amongst my first, almost first set of legendaries. And then I started getting a lot of the fusible champions, or the fusible legendaries, I should say. I managed to get Foley, I managed to get Torment, I managed to get Harvest Jack. So all that while still trying to complete the game. But now that it's done, I can focus even more on the fusible champions, and I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get even more on a regular basis. Maybe for the next year, I can hit them all. Who knows?
Right, you could be able to. You just have to save up resources and be prepared because at this point in the game, let's look over here and see what you've got. You've got quite a few brews, and it's just time, right? You've saved up chicken, you have books, you need ascension material, and as you do that, and you know, like in your experience too, so you've been through it quite a few times, so you kind of know what to expect, you know what to go after, and be prepared for this type of thing.
And that's really what it is. It's all about planning. Like, you need to be really efficient with your energy, with your resources. Every move counts. You're not just going to rank up a champion because you feel like trying him out. It needs to be a way for you to progress. So of all the champions that you see there, basically they've all been used for me to achieve the next sort of mission, basically, right? Eventually, they ended up in the vault because I got something better, but still, all the champions that I ranked up to 60 had a use at one point. And I've saved a copy of literally every rare champion, every epic champion I've ever gotten. They're all level 30, ready to go for fusions. So
Nice.
that's what I say. You gotta be prepared. Using shards outside of a summoning event, it's a no-go. Using shards outside of a double summon sacred event, that's also no-go. You really have to optimize how you're going to get new champions and more resources. Always try to complete most of the events or part of the events if you can, and only complete them when they're, let's say, part of a fusion event. You know what I mean?
Right.
So no, overall, I think I've been doing pretty good. And in my last set of videos, it's been about showing that I can finally hit 100% success rate on the level 20 dungeons. Because up to this point, I still haven't been farming gear. Like, aside from the fusions event and the missions. So now is the time to start farming some gear, and I'm going to do it on level 20 dungeons, which means I'll be getting directly rank 5 and rank 6 gear, basically.
Right, right. So before that, you were doing what? Did you do 13? Did you do 16? You just tried to do as high as you could?
That's the funny thing. I kind of got by with just getting gear from the marketplace. Sounds crazy, but the marketplace can actually provide some very good pieces early on, but also just a part of the other fusion events or the missions, right? When you hit a mission that says you got to farm this so-and-so dungeon for this amount of time or runs or whatever, and that was about enough for me to get in some decent gear. But keep in mind, I never really had teams or dedicated teams for each of the dungeons geared at the same time. It was always about taking apart what I had, building a new team just to get past that mission.
Oh,
and
really?
then
So
rinse and repeat for the other one.
You had to move gear around and just be ready for
all the time.
Wow.
Exactly. So there was no point for me to try and do proper gearing all across the board on champions that I knew were either going to be replaced, or if it was just for a temporary sort of like getting past an obstacle. You know what I mean? So now, though, finally, like I said, with the 100% success rate dungeons that I've achieved recently, I've started making dedicated teams, but I still don't have the gear to keep all those champions geared at the same time. So I'm working on that. It's the next step. But for now, dungeon-wise, the dragon is one of them. It's always ready to go. You see it here. Champions go down. It's all part of the plan. Arbiter is there to save us.
Right.
But the Ice Golem, I've got to move a little bit of gear around. The Fire Knight, I've got to move some gear around. And Spider Dungeon, same thing. I've got to move some gear around as well.
Yeah, well, you're doing fantastic. Look at this, 2-minute runtime. You've got this team here. Obviously, like you said, Arbiter bringing everybody back. If you didn't have Arbiter, you could use Gorgorab, anything like that. So, great team. This is a phenomenal team. Free to play. Everything is. Let me check out some gear over here. Let me look at it. Some of these people. See what we have on here. You've got 3 Cold Hearts, which is pretty amazing. Here's the one where you're using.
So that's the one in the Dragon Dungeon, but the third one on the right, she's the one for the Fire Knight and Spider, but she needs the gear from Seer. So when I want to do those dungeons, I got to take apart part of my Seer. But it works. Then I go back, put it all back on my Seer.
It does work. I mean, you made it work. We see it right here. But that is amazing. I would have never thought because, obviously I haven't been free to play in forever. And to do this, yeah, that's what you got to do. I mean, it makes sense.
Exactly. And as you'll see, like I think my Ghostborn has absolutely no gear on him right now. Xavier has no gear. Foley has no gear
Oh wow.
because they're just not being used on a daily basis. So there's no point in me leaving that gear sitting there and not really serving any purpose down the road for faction wars and things like that. Hey, I'll work on that. But look at the amount of pieces I have.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing on the account. Anything I've kept has some use, but it's mostly also just for the artifact enhancement events. And then I'm going to sell it. You know what I mean? Because if it's not good enough, if it's not a game-changing piece, I'm probably not going to waste the silver. The silver is a huge problem on free-to-play accounts.
Yes.
You do not get a ton. And this 35 million right here, this is twice in the entire year that I've had over 30 million. I'm getting ready for the artifact enhancement event and probably going to be tweaking my Ultra Nightmare clan boss, or I'm going to attempt the Ultra Nightmare clan boss and tweak perhaps the level 20 dungeon
Right.
teams, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, preparation, you've got it down to a science. Moving your artifacts, which really surprised me. I didn't even think about that. Moving the artifacts around just to do specific dungeons or whatever's needed at the time, whatever kind of tournament we have or event we have going on, is crazy. It's mind blowing to somebody like me, right? Because I farm all the time. I've got this all the time. And yes, I do things that I try to make toward not necessarily free to play, but I show rare champions or whatever else, and I've played a free to play account before, and I've said yes, you could go in there and do things, but I always did it under the assumption that of course I would buy energy to do it, right? To speed it along.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But when you don't have that option.
Exactly. You don't, man. You never go to sleep with full energy or like over the maximum energy. I'm always using it, making sure I profit from that regeneration. Right. I save up all the gems that I get from within the game. I use it at the right time. And I've only really used gems on energy and once a 900 gems on 11 ancient shards, which I regretted instantly. I should not have done that. But that brings me to the next point. I think the viewers might be interested in learning about a little bit of stats about the account, sort of like how many legendaries have I had so far, how many epics, how many ancient shards, void shards, and sacred shards did I open.
Sure.
So we'll talk about that real quick. 9 legendaries in total so far, and one of them being a duplicate. So 8 different ones in total. My account has seen 68 different epics. I've basically gotten all the rares except the newer ones and perhaps the occasional void rare in some of the factions. I forget which. I have about 28 level 60 champions fully ascended and all masteries done. So that's about 1 every 2 weeks, which isn't that bad.
No, that's not bad at all. 28 is quite a lot actually for a free to play account for a full year. 28 seems like a lot. And I can't believe you didn't get a legendary champion until 8 months in or so, and then now you have. I know. How many did you say total?
9. Total of 9.
Okay, what's the duplicate one? Because I'm not in there to look at it right now.
Xavier.
Oh,
I got 2 Xaviers.
You got 2 of her. Okay, well, she's so good. She's so good for speed runs.
She's super good. Yet I didn't feel that I needed her right now. Like, see, I could definitely use her on the dragon stage, and that's why I built her. But built this team. Notice how well it was working with sort of more accessible champions, I guess, if you may say, like an apothecary, an arbiter, which you're guaranteed to get. Only 1 cold heart. My previous builds were using like 2 cold hearts. My builds to get to the level 20 dungeons were also very different, right? The aftermath of when you get arbiter, then you can change up your teams quite drastically. Right. But yeah, definitely. Going down the road, I might end up both Xavier's and I think it's sort of understanding that you don't need all legendaries across the board. We know it. You've shown it very often. There's a lot of very good rares in the game, some that are end game quality that can allow you to complete most of the end game.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's fascinating to see this. To me, it's very fascinating to see this because even if I run, like I said, even if I run free to play or I try to show that and farm in campaign and then farm, Dragons 13 or something of that nature, of course, I do it with me being able to spend unlimited amount of resources right away so I can just get everything I need and move forward within a matter of, days or a day. But for you, I mean, for you using your energy, especially when you're on this road coming up, Did you even have to log in all day? Could you just log in a couple times a day and then you were just sitting there saying, I don't have resources to do anything else with?
All the time. all the time. I'm at zero most of the time, right? And I'm just sort of trying to plan my next moves. I've shown it, I think, my couple last videos. The Rotos fusion, I map it out in a calendar. I figure out all the potions ahead of time of what I'm going to need, and then I kind of estimate if I can do it or not. Then I did a couple of summons. It got me some of the rares needed to do it, which means I have less farming to do, so less gems to spend. And now all of a sudden, Rotos is accessible to me. So you never know, right? You kind of just deal with whatever is thrown at you, and it might not be enough. It might be enough.
Well, it looks like it's working. You've got every fusion here. You're ready for the next one. That planning that you just talked about is definitely what you need to do. For sure, if you're not going to spend any money, you got to do that. And here, right here, proof of everything that you can do it is amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
And having to plan it out, because I'm sure you've had, like you said, I just can't imagine this kind of account. Because for me, I love to farm all the time, of course, but I spend money.
Yeah.
So for you to come in and play this game, and I played free to play other games before, and I felt like that. Like I log in, I spend my energy, I spend whatever I have, and I'm just like, well, I got to log out and go play something else and wait
Exactly
6 hours or half a day to do something else. Like I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
Like give me my energy back so I can, because there are things you want to accomplish, right? You know what you want to accomplish, you know what you want to do, but then you're just waiting for that silver because you can't upgrade anything yet. You're waiting for that energy to come back so you can farm some more, just getting your champions up. I mean, everything is just such a slow process. But here,
Exactly.
I mean, but really not though. That's what amazes me. Like looking at your account over a year's time and talking about how many that you've already made 60, and you said within a 2-week time making a 60. You know, it's really not bad. It's not anywhere near as bad as anybody would say out there.
Exactly.
So, it's beautiful.
So,
I love it.
Yeah, and I think though what worked for me with this game is that this extra free time allowed me to start working on YouTube. Right? If you play a PC game like I've played Diablo 2 for so long, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, all of those great games, as a part-time PC player, you don't have the time to play a couple hours a day and then try to keep up with the big players or the YouTubers and then try to do YouTube on top of that. I didn't have the time to do that, but this game fits my lifestyle perfectly. I get to play part-time, and in the downtime or when I don't have any more energy, I get to make videos.
The videos.
So
okay.
yeah, I think for me right now it is working out well. But as I try to make YouTube a more serious thing in the future, I can imagine that I'd have to play more to bring more content to the viewers. But anyway, I think that overall it's been an interesting journey. I've watched you guys grow, the bigger YouTuber guys, and I think it's given me a model as to what I would have to do in order to become bigger in that sense, right? Because I'm only averaging about 2 videos a week for that entire year. So it's not like I'm really trying to, make this a full-time thing, at least not for now.
But even still, if you wanted to put out content, I think there's a big audience out there that wants to see this kind of content, especially even if you did videos, you only do a few a week, but even if you did one daily of just you showing your teams, going through whatever, even you changing out your gear to take on another dungeon and to keep doing that, there's people that you'd be surprised. You'd be really surprised. There are going to be a lot of people that want to see it. So where you don't have to spend money, there are going to be definitely a lot of people who want to see you keep going even forward, because we're going to get new content in the game. We're going to, like you said, you're going to try to tackle Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, Faction Wars, and everything else. So even if you're, the journey, even if you're unsuccessful at trying to get to the next stage, you can still show that. And then when you finally are successful at doing it, everybody's there with you. We get to see you step by step. And I think that's what people really enjoy seeing.
It's true, man. Absolutely. And I hope to increase my consistency of making videos on YouTube. I think we talked about it a little before we started the video. Having a very young family, it's not always easy. And I have the type of job where I am basically on call. So I once in a while have to leave on short notice and I'm gone for a few days. So it's hard for me to have a steady schedule. But still, I do hope to work towards that. And thank you for the tips. It's definitely going to help out.
Yeah. Well, it's my pleasure, Bonic. What we're going to do, hey, everybody, make sure you go to his channel, subscribe, check out his videos, all free to play for a full year. This has really just enlightened me about a free to play account and what you can do with it, and to prep for everything and to switch around your gear. I actually really like this. So any videos I haven't seen of yours, I'm going to go back there and look through and kind of cherry pick and see what I want to watch there, because I'm excited about this. and for sure your giveaway. Everybody go over there, subscribe, look out for that video. What, you're going to put it up within the following week?
Within the next couple of days, as soon as I'm back from being on the road, I will make that video. 4,500 gems in total for basically 5 winners who are each going to get 900. Yeah.
A lot of gems, a lot of gems. Okay, well, let's do that, man. Thanks so much for coming on the show, and we'll do it again. We definitely got to do a future collab on anything that you're doing. Like I said, any kind of milestone that you get through or progress through, or anything else that we can talk about free-to-play wise, I love it. Anything we can do to help out the viewers, it's great.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure. We'll talk soon, bud.
Okay, catch you later, buddy.